Okay. Hi, everybody. Steve Chamraz here in the today's TMJ4 newsroom with the Sheriff of Kenosha County, David Beth. Thank you for coming in today.
Thanks for the invite.
You were a bit of a star last night. You were on all the national news broadcasts.
We made it there last night and today, too.
For a reason you don't want to be on the national news.
Yeah, you don't make for national news on a good story, and this isn't a good story.
Unfortunately, no. It's more likely than not that it's the bad story that's going to get you on the nightly news.
Yeah.
But this is something that the country has been worried about for the last month or so, as we've had these mysterious vaping-related illnesses and deaths pop up. 6 deaths, hundreds of illnesses, and this guy now, hang on, let me turn the volume down on this thing, in Kenosha County, doing something, we don't know if it's connected to that, but it is certainly related to these off-market, homemade vaping capsules that all the medical authorities say are really a concern for people, and they should just not be using them at all.
No, absolutely. We just got contacted today by the Wisconsin Health Services and the 2 attorneys that actually broke the story in July about the 6 people that were sick up here in Wisconsin. And they asked if they could be part, and I said, oh, absolutely. I mean, what we found, it started off in Waukesha, and some parents, they were concerned that their high school student had these cartridges for vaping, and it had flavors. I don't know exactly what flavor it was. They brought it to the Waukesha Police Department, and they started the investigation to see where this came from, and it came down to Kenosha after they went up a couple tiers of where they got it from.
Right.
And it broke into 2 homes in Kenosha, one in Paddock Lake and one in Bristol. And they found 31,200 loaded cartridges ready to get shipped out to wherever they were going to.
So from what you just described there, was this kind of like a multi-level distribution scheme that, as you're investigating this, so there's probably some things you can't tell us, but were there like high-level, mid-level, low-level people involved with this all the way?
I think it really boiled down to the people in Paddock Lake and Bristol. They ship it out in a quantity.
Okay.
And I don't exactly know the numbers. I've heard different numbers. I don't know if it's 100 or 500 or what level they ship them out at. But to the kid in Waukesha, I guess it went through about 5 tiers by finally the time they figured out that it was the people in Kenosha that they were looking for.
And these are the Huffines brothers we're looking at here.
These were the Huffines brothers. And on the left you have Tyler, and on the right you have Jacob.
Okay.
So we have a 20-year-old and a 23-year-old that went into their house, and they found guns. They found $59,000. They went to the condo in Bristol that they rented under a false name from someone from Arizona, if I remember right. And
that was their manufacturing location.
That was where they had the mason jars filled with THC oil, and they had the 31,000 cartridges, and they had thousands of cartridges waiting to get loaded. They would hire about 10 people to come in and inject, to actually take needles and inject these things and package them. And they packaged them to look like candy.
This is a picture right here.
There you go.
What we're talking about. What is this we're looking at right here?
Well, that's some of the product ready to get shipped out, and it gets shipped out with, like cherry I saw, and I saw a Sour Patch. There's a Sour Patch right there. So if you're a parent, we actually had a little bit of an epidemic at one of our grade schools in Kenosha, and what they asked us to come in and talk to the parents and the kids, and the parents there could not understand why we were so concerned about it, because this is just flavored water, and they didn't really care if their kids were doing this. It's just like eating candy or smoking candy.
They thought it was flavored water.
They thought it was flavored water, and we came in and said it's not. So what's been going on here the last few months with the e-cigarettes, the flavored cartridges that go in, and now the black market stuff was what we have here. And if you looked at the back of the containers, it actually did say it had 5 milligrams of THC on it, which in its very small letters, if you didn't look at it almost with a magnifying, you didn't even see that part. And then what we have the THC sent to a lab, so we don't exactly know the level of THC, but if it's what the Hunsheimer's believe it is, it's THC oil, it's pure,
right,
it would be about 150 times the level of THC that the package is even claiming it has.
So one of the concerns with these, they're called dab sticks, I've heard them called dab sticks, the things you put in your vape pens. Is that the right term for it?
I haven't heard that. Okay. I have heard that, but that isn't what they were calling them.
The capsules.
Yep.
That some manufacturers out there cut it with stuff. And one of the concerns is vitamin E, oils, that types of thing.
Yep.
Was there any indication that they were cutting? Those were jars full of THC oil. Were they diluting that at all with anything, or was it straight, from what you know, straight THC oil going in those?
We
in those
found
capsules?
no cutting agents there. Whether it was cut before they got it and they didn't know it, I have no clue. That's one of the scariest parts here is even the black market ones that are coming from, well, this little lab that they put together, you don't exactly know what was in the THC oil. You don't know what came from their distributor. So it is sent out to a lab right now. We'll find out more.
Okay.
The Wisconsin Health Services, they said this is their first break in seeing where this stuff is coming from that is hurting people.
Okay, that's the backstory here. Bring us up to date if you can. This is you giving your news conference yesterday, about 24 hours ago. What can you tell us that you've learned in the last 24 hours? I know there are some things you can't tell us. What can you share with us that's come in as your case has evolved?
Well, really since last week, we have been nonstop on this. No matter, we just have. There's so much product that's out there, and we're trying to, there's phone calls that are coming in with people we should be looking at. Our drug unit has been out today looking in a couple different places as of this morning, and we are finding that this has tentacles all over the place. It's growing, and the FDA is coming in, and they've already interviewed the Huffhines,
right.
And DA is also part of it, and there's other federal agencies that are very, very interested in this case. We're dying to know where it gets shipped to.
That's my next question. How far did this spread?
We don't know. We know it has left Wisconsin. We know that some of this product has left Wisconsin. Exactly which direction it's gone, I don't know that for sure.
So does that make this a federal case at some point if this stuff starts crossing the state lines?
That's why we brought the DEA in right away, and the CDC is also very interested in the results from this too, because they're a part of this nationwide.
Anybody out there have any questions, you can send them to us in the chat there on the Facebook page. John Billingsley, if I'm misinformed on something, that's why I'm having this conversation. I'm trying to learn more about this. I might have referred to dab sticks. I've heard that term.
I've heard the term.
That may not be the correct term for what we're talking about here. But again, this is something I don't know much about. I'm trying to learn as we discover this problem that exists. And this is not something that most parents are going to know about. Parents don't know what a Juul or a vape or these capsules or parents don't know what this stuff is, and they need to figure this out so they know what their kids are.
Yeah, they come in different shapes. I think the Juul is a little bit more flat, like you would have a jump drive or something along that line. And there's other ones that look like almost like a pen, and you'd put the cartridge inside of it. And I think they were loading several different types of cartridges to fill into the different cigarettes, e-cigarettes, or the Juuls, or whatever that's out there.
It seemed to me like it was only a matter of time that these companies developed the vape pens or the Juuls, that somebody came up with a way to put something else into them than what was manufactured. I mean, it was a device that was crying out to be tampered with in some way.
And you can buy the packaging, you can buy the empty cartridges, you can buy that online, you can get it shipped here. I don't know where it comes from, I haven't figured that part out yet. But I know it's not illegal to buy these empty cartridges. It's what you put in them. And it's, you have no, with this black market stuff, you have no idea what's put into it, you have no idea the level or concentration, or it could be fertilizer, it could be anything, or what they're cutting it with.
Terry out there wants to know, are you looking at more than the two guys you have in custody right now? Are you looking?
There'll be more arrests.
There will be more arrests. So Terry, we can say that. John says that the Juuls are the problems that the kids are using. That's probably because they're probably the easiest to conceal.
I think that's true. I think because they're smaller.
A vape pen looks like a cigarette.
Yeah, they're
but
bigger.
A Juul you can put in your book bag, and it just looks like anything else digital that we hang on to.
Yeah. And I just saw an article actually today from Gurnee, Illinois, and it's an 18-year-old athletic kid that supposedly now is in pretty critical shape, and he has the lungs of a 70-year-old because of e-cigarettes.
Any more? We talked about that one. When will the results come back? You said you've got stuff out in the lab. How fast do you think they can turn that around? State crime lab, or are the feds doing the analysis for you?
It's more of a local lab, so it's probably the state crime lab.
Okay. So how quickly are you?
I don't know.
You don't know about that?
No.
Okay.
With all the attention it's getting, my guess is they're going to step it up just a little bit.
Okay. So the brothers are from Paddock Lake. The rental property, Liz wants to know, where was this in Kenosha County?
The rental property was in a development called Bristol Bay.
Okay.
It's right near 45 and 50, and it's got residential homes. It has a condo complex right there. And what they did is they rented this under a fake name from, if I remember right, from Arizona, whether it be a fictitious person or a name of a person out there, but they rented it under that name so they didn't get connected to it.
Okay. Well, not a whole lot of questions out there, and I think we're up to speed on this. I'll just pass along notes from John, who says he's very happy these guys were caught. Lisa says, great job. And Wanda says, nice job getting the bad guys here. So,
we'll get more. This isn't done. This is going, like I said, the tentacles go across this country. It starts out in California with the THC oil, and not that this is illegal. I don't believe right now that the jar itself is illegal in California.
Right.
But I do believe that this kind of operation would be legal in every state of Wisconsin.
So I was talking about this with a colleague just yesterday. I'm working on a story we'll see in a couple of weeks. What is it going to be like for you in Kenosha County, essentially on the barricades in Wisconsin, up against a state where January 1, so much of this stuff is going to be absolutely legal? Mm-hmm. That someone takes a couple of steps over the state line into your jurisdiction, mm-hmm. and it's that close to you.
For us, I don't think it's going to be that different. It's going to be different for them because they're going to cross a line, and the laws are completely different. You can't use THC up in Wisconsin legally. So the people that are in Illinois, I think they're the ones that have to be aware that if you're whether it's vaping or smoking marijuana, and you drive up into Kenosha or the state of Wisconsin, that you have to follow the laws of Wisconsin. We don't honor there's no reciprocity because of you're in Illinois and it's okay down there.
But your office, Pleasant Prairie, Kenosha, mm-hmm. you have rivers of cars coming in
Illinois
every day
mm-hmm.
from Illinois, and a lot of these people might have this stuff on them, and you're going to have to deal with that.
And we will. I'm not saying we're excited.
Don't sound too thrilled about that, Sheriff.
I'm not thrilled about it, but if they're going to come up and that's what they're going to do in Wisconsin, we will deal with it like we deal with it. We've been doing it for decades.
Okay.
We'll take care of it.
But just the fact that it's legal there and it's going to be coming here, that's more cases that your deputies and police officers are going to have to
mm-hmm.
handle.
Probably.
That's more time doing paperwork. That's more cases in the courts. Mm-hmm. That could gum up, especially right along the state line. Law enforcement, keep you guys busy with a problem that, you've got now, but you might have it on a bigger scale going forward.
We might, and we'll deal with it. We'll figure it out as it comes our way. I don't think it's going to change. You know, when concealed carry first came into Wisconsin, I thought that was going to be a big deal we have to deal with all the time. When I talked to other sheriffs in other parts of the country, when it actually came here, it was no big deal.
Okay.
I believe this is going to be pretty much the same thing when it actually comes to pass in January.
Okay. Sheriff Beth, thank you so much for coming in. Sheriff David Beth from Kenosha County talking about what's been big news. I first read that article in the Kenosha News probably 3 days ago now. Our jaws just dropped here in the newsroom when we read that first report, and to hear it all now spelled out in legal documents and in your news conference yesterday is just amazing.
Well, when we saw the first 2 warrants happened last Thursday, a week ago, and Friday they gave me a briefing, and I couldn't believe it. When they showed me the pictures of what this was and the product they had there, and it was under our nose the entire time, and it was, the major players here is a 20-year-old and a 23-year-old.
Enterprising young men. Imagine what they could have done had they put their efforts to something noble.
Hopefully they're making plates for a long time.
All right, Sheriff Beth. Thanks for joining us, everybody, on Facebook Live.